Hi, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess. Today we are starting yet another, you guessed it, reading vlog. Unlike the last reading vlog where I did very little reading, this time I've actually picked up a couple books, believe it or not. I'm just over 25% or around a quarter into both of these books right now, so I'm going to talk to you about the physical one first, which is Where the Dark Stands Still by A.B. Poranek. This one is a YA fantasy. It focuses heavily on Polish folklore, Polish folk creatures, and it follows our main character Liska, who is looking for an enchanted fern flower in the woods. According to the tales, this fern flower can grant one wish, and her wish is to get rid of her magic because it is causing her to be shunned and ostracized from her village, and in fact her parents, or I think just her mother, is planning to send her away. So she sets off into this dark, ominous forest in search of the fern flower, and through a series of events she ends up finding this flower, but it is in the possession of a demon of the woods. And the only way that he will give her the fern flower is if she stays with him for 1 year in his manor as his servant. And you might be thinking, that is super like Beauty and the Beast coded. It is. It's effectively Polish Beauty and the Beast. I find that I don't necessarily mind it. Like, I don't mind that it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling because it is still taking a lot of liberties with it, and it's doing something more interesting than just like a Beauty and the Beast one-to-one retelling, because it's working into this Polish folklore as well, which I think is really interesting. The writing in this is beautiful. It is so lyrical, so lush. All of the nature descriptions in here are just gorgeous, and also all the descriptions of this manor, because it is like kind of crumbling a little bit and being like reclaimed by the forest. So it does have that energy of like the Beast's castle in Beauty and the Beast, although we don't have like sentient talking furniture or anything yet. We do have like a house spirit that takes the form of a cat, so that is kind of working into the folklore elements and like not so much the Beauty and the Beast elements. There's also some more like high stakes aspects going on related to the folklore, because there's also these other demons in the woods that are terrorizing and killing villagers. Oh, I didn't say the demon that she's living with. I didn't say his name, but it's the Leshy, I believe. It's like Leszzy. Yes. He's been trying to stop these monsters that are terrorizing the villages, and now she's kind of working with him a little bit because it's too much for him to handle alone. Her magic is heavily repressed because of her upbringing, the religious kind of atmosphere of the town she was living in, and so she's trying to unlock that magic, I suppose, to help the Leshy. So that's the status on this one. I'm really enjoying it so far, and I really like it. It's really just so lyrically written. I think that even though it is YA, it doesn't feel really YA. So I wonder if this is one of those instances where it was categorized as YA to like appeal to the YA market, but it is kind of like older YA. I don't know how old Liska is. I think it says it, but I don't remember how old she is. But I could have believed it if the book said that she was 20 something. She feels like she's more mature. It feels like she has lived through quite a lot already in her life. This is a romance though, and so it does get into that weird territory of like a several 100-year-old demon or being or whatever, and like a young woman or young girl. That tends to happen a lot in the fantasy space, I feel, and I wonder how it'll kind of pan out with this. Also, it's not fully confirmed yet, but I'm pretty sure that the Leshy is at least bisexual. I would definitely like that because there's not a lot of representation, I feel, of bisexual men especially. Although we don't fully know the whole situation yet with that character, so we will see what happens as the story unfolds. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this one. I think it's really good so far. The next one I got as an ebook, and that's because it is a chonker. I know I just finished Priory of the Orange Tree, which was like 700 something pages. This one is 600 something pages. I got it on bookshop.org through my local indie, and I was very happy to see that they were running a huge sale for whatever reason. So I did snag that for $3, which is awesome. Still haven't said the name of the book yet, but it is The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson, I believe is the last name. This one I believe is adult. I can't fully remember if it's classed as YA or adult. I will confirm that and put it on the screen. But it is a fantasy mystery. I guess before I even talk about the mystery and who we are following, I should talk about the world building a little bit. I feel like some of the world building is a little bit unestablished yet at this point, but it seems like the religious system in this world is centered around 8 gods, which are each represented by like a guardian species: fox, bear, ox, etc. And in the country that this is set in, or the nation that it's set in, there is an empire, and every 24 years a new emperor or empress is chosen through a series of trials. Backtracking slightly, I forgot a detail. There are 8 monasteries that are linked with each of the gods. It's not just a religious monastery. I mean, they are, but but it's also an academy where people train for all sorts of different careers, including like warriors and scholars. And when it comes time for these trials, one contender is chosen from each of these monasteries, 8 people total, and one of them will become the next emperor or empress. So that's kind of like the critical world building, I would say, that you need to know. And we follow our main character, ゚Ma, who is a Raven Scholar, the Raven Scholar, I assume, by the title. The first couple chapters are like establishing some more of the political situation going into the trials, but I'm not going to talk too much about that. Then there's an 8-year time skip, and then it is time to choose a new emperor or empress. So it is a trial year, or whatever they call it. I think it's like a festival year. I don't know. A whole lot of shit happens. I'm not going to go too much into all the shit that happens, but basically the Raven contender ends up getting murdered. And ゚Ma, through a series of scheming and things, not scheming by her, but like scheming above her, I suppose, ends up being chosen as the new contender to represent the Raven Monastery. And she is like very much not looking forward to it. She does not want to be a contender. She is very much giving like reluctant protagonist vibes. I really like ゚Ma as a character because she is kind of like quirky and bookish and nerdy, but also she's an anxious girly. She's like very awkward in social situations, definitely like autistic coded, I would say, especially with the way that she always feels compelled to correct people when they're wrong, and she has to state facts, like it has to burst out of her, otherwise she'll just like explode or something. So I think she's kind of fun to have like an anxious, neurodivergent main character. Regarding her like quirkiness, the tone of this is really interesting because it's simultaneously like very serious going in. Like the situation is very dour. Dour. One of those. And going into it, I thought we were going to be getting a certain vibe, a certain atmosphere in this book. After those couple of like establishing chapters, we start following ゚Ma, and the story and the whole writing takes a very different tone at this point. It's like mostly serious because we have all this political intrigue going on and the emperor stuff happening, and then also the competition getting set up, but it's also very silly at times. Like this is a little bit of a humorous book. Sometimes a character will act in a way that is completely modern, or they will say something that is so out of place for like the setting that this has. It's just really strange, like this kind of weird blend that we have of a little bit more of like a serious, stern plot happening, but then there are just a lot of moments that feel quirky. I don't know how else to describe it, just like kind of tongue-in-cheek. I don't know, I was just surprised by the tone shifting happening that's going on. What? But yeah, so like I said, I'm about a quarter into this one as well. So not only is ゚Ma the contender for the Raven in these trials, she is also the investigator for this murder mystery that's happening, which like a little bit of conflict of interest going on, and characters do mention that to her, but it seems like the Emperor doesn't have a problem with it. He's the one who told her to lead the investigation. So anyways, that's where we're at. There is a murder investigation underway. The trials are underway. ゚Ma does not want to be there. Things are going well for the most part. So I really like it, actually. I'm really enjoying this. After that initial like jarring moment with the tone switching that was happening, I actually found myself really enjoying it, and I think that the humor is kind of refreshing. It's kind of nice to have characters just being goofy once in a while. So those are my 2 current reads. I am very happy to say. It seems I have broken my reading slump. I don't know what was happening to me the last like couple weeks, but we're back. We are so back. Aside from those reading updates, I am going to be putting in some B-roll of another cozy game demo. And I wouldn't call this one cozy, but it's one of the demos that I downloaded recently. I did mention in my last reading vlog that I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about the games that I'm playing, and especially lately there's so many indie demos that are launching, so I downloaded a few. I started playing the demo for this game called Arcane Eats. It is a deck building roguelike, I believe is what they call it, and it's interesting because you have like a restaurant simulator type of game, but it's also a deck builder, and you're playing ingredient cards to cook them and then serve them to the customers, but the customers are doing actions on their turn to kind of sabotage you, and so you need to be like defending yourself from what the customers are doing to you, but also cooking food to serve the customers and etc. It definitely has like a silly, goofy vibe, very D&D, and I do like it so far. I might play a couple other demos as well in the next few days, and maybe I will show that in this video as well. The only other order of business that I have to talk about is that I still have all of the books from my last vlog, which was the unhaul. I still have all of those in my car, and I know I said I was going to do the little free library scary thing, but I kind of want to try selling them to a bookstore that buys used books. There's not a whole lot of them in my area that do that, but I have a couple in mind that I'm going to try to go to, get a couple dollars back or whatever, store credit, and then maybe go and buy some used books depending on what I find. I think that's everything I had to talk to you guys about. I'm going to go shower and get into some PJs. I will come back in and talk to you guys when I have an update on one of these books, so I will see you then. Please don't rub on the camera. Okay, so it's been a few days. The observant among you may notice that something is different. I have dyed my hair. I went darker, and I really like it. I definitely feel more confident when I have the darker hair. It makes me feel a little bit more vampy, which I love. So it has been several days since I talked to you, and I do have a couple reading updates. Firstly, let's get into the physical update, which is for Where the Dark Stands Still. I put the dust jacket back on it so I can talk about it and show it to you, but I normally don't read with them on because it's just like a sensory nightmare. I feel like I've got maybe a quarter of the book left. I think I'm around the 75% mark. Since the last time I talked to you, not a ton has happened plot-wise. I mean, there has been plot things that have happened, but this book is mostly, I feel, focused on the character growth between Liska and the Leshy, but also just them individually as well. In the beginning of the story, Liska was extremely, reserved about her magic and wanting to get rid of it, kept it extremely under lock and key, just didn't want to acknowledge that magic is natural, didn't want to acknowledge the possibilities of it, didn't want to do anything with it. And I might have mentioned this before, I might not have mentioned it, but she's also going to be helping the Leshy with his duty of being a warden for the forest, for the wood. And so her magic is going to kind of help fill in those gaps where his magic is starting to weaken. In order to help the Leshy at all, she has to basically let him in and try to access her magic, which has been completely locked up within her. She can barely reach it anymore. It's only something that kind of comes out in dire situations or life or death situations. intelligence. And part of the process to access her magic is letting him into her memories a little bit, into her soul. And it's starting to kind of tear open these old wounds that she has tried and failed to cover up. These memories that have been plaguing her and the things that are making her feel so much guilt, especially regarding her magic. And so in trying to access the magic, she's having to uncover all of these feelings and reveal her past to the Leshy. And obviously, as you would expect, it brings them a lot closer. And in turn, he is also letting her in about his past, about how he came to be the warden of this wood, and about the things that are burdening him and the things that are causing him pain. And so it is nice to see them starting to let each other in and starting to be vulnerable, especially because Liska doesn't really have anybody in her home life back at the village where she could genuinely let them in and see her whole self. And the Leshy has been alone for like 200 years or something like that. He is several hundred years old, but aside from visiting certain villages, I think he has been alone for like 200 years. So as you would expect, like, it's nice to see this kind of connection start to blossom between the two of them, and the little banter that they have is very cute. He's very, very grumpy, but I love how he's starting to get more playful with her and starting to have a little bit more fun, seeing the lighter side of things, and she's able to pull him out of where he's been kind of stuck in the dark. And likewise, he's trying to pull her out of this cycle of guilt and shame about her past. So it is really nice. I really am enjoying this one. We have had a bit more of like fast-paced moments once in a while, a little bit of action here and there. It's mostly just a slow unfolding of the dynamic with these two characters. So I do really like it. And there's some other side characters that have kind of come in here and there. I do like the side characters as well. So the next time I update you on Where the Dark Stands Still will probably be when it's done. Now let's chat a little bit about The Raven Scholar. So I'm about halfway into that. I've made a lot of progress on this. Like, the fact that I'm already 50% into a 600 something page book feels really good. It does read very easy. Like, compared to Priory of the Orange Tree, which was the last gigantic book that I read, that one read very slowly. I really had to take my time with it. I was writing down everything about the world building and just trying to make sure that I had a grasp on the religions, the world building, the political dynamics, like all that stuff. This has definitely less of those details going on, but there is still a lot of world building. And obviously, since it's a mystery, I'm also trying to keep track of where the mystery is going and the clues that we've gotten, who's involved, etc. So it's definitely reading pretty fast. I feel like mysteries usually do, because you're just waiting for like the next reveal, the next reveal, the next clue. So it is going pretty quick. We're still in the middle of the trials. They are pretty long, as you might expect. It takes up the bulk of the book so far. And Nima has gotten a lot more clues about what could be happening involving this murder. She's starting to kind of put together some things that are happening behind the scenes. I'm being so vague because I can't tell you anything about it, really. I can't tell you anything specific about the mystery because that would give it away. I do feel like outside of the mystery, not a lot is happening. The trials themselves are pretty boring so far, to be honest. I'm waiting to see when these trials really ramp up because so far it's pretty tame. This isn't really one of those competitions where like people are gonna die necessarily. It might happen, but since there are so few contenders, it's not likely that they're all gonna die. It's not part of the process that they have to die to have like one victor remaining. But I kind of hope that some people start dropping dead, I'm not gonna lie, because I do want things to get a little more exciting. I think if we had another murder happen, that would make it extra spicy because then we would have multiple murders and potentially multiple murderers to chase down. So my update for this one is definitely a little bit shorter just because I don't really have a lot to say at this point in the story. I'm enjoying the reveals and parts of this mystery and uncovering what's going on. It's not anything groundbreaking. I am enjoying the book still. There's not as much of that comedic tone as there was in like maybe the first 25%. The second 25% has been a little bit less comedic, which is fine because at this point we're very much just trying to uncover evidence and Nima is just trying to like stay alive basically. But I do hope that there are more twists and turns. I hope maybe another murder happens. I hope that the comedic tone starts to make an appearance again because I really did actually enjoy the tone that we were getting. So that is it as far as reading updates go. I did show this in one of the B-rolls as well, but I went to a little bookstore. It's a used bookstore. I went there specifically to sell the books that I was unhauling. Someone is backing up. Just ignore the beeping, I'm sorry. But yes, so I brought that pile of unhauled books to the bookstore, and they gave me like $26, $27 in-store credit. And then while I was there, I bought House of Hollow. Well, let me actually grab it. House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. I have already read this one, actually. I believe I read this one last year, but it's a YA fantasy. It has to do with fairy, like the realm of fairy. And it does feature a lot of botanical horror, which you can kind of tell from the cover. I really, really loved the imagery in this one and that decaying, rotting, botanical horror aspect that it had. I really, really enjoyed this one, and there were definitely some moments in here that had me gagged. So I managed to grab this one for just a few dollars, which was a great find. So maybe I'll try doing that more often, because then I can get some store credit and I can do a little bit of used book shopping as well. It's a win-win. So all the reading stuff aside, I haven't really been doing much else, to be honest. It's been kind of a rough week emotionally. I'm going through a lot of personal stuff that I don't really feel I can share yet. It's not really resolved at the moment. The situation is still ongoing, but it has been very emotionally draining. And whenever I can share with you what's going on, I will. It's just not yet. But I've been very emotionally burnt out. And because of the emotional burnout, it's kind of trickling into work as well. So I'm getting like burnt out from work. I haven't been engaging a whole lot with my hobbies outside of reading. Like I haven't been doing any journaling recently, although I haven't had any journal spreads to do recently. I haven't really been gaming or anything. I've just been reading at my breaks at work and then like a little bit in the evening. But honestly, when I get home from work and I do like all the adulting shit like chores and cooking and whatever else we have to do, we just kind of sit on the couch and rot. That's kind of all we've been doing the last few nights, is just rotting on the couch, watching like Elden Ring videos or whatever else. And I have to remind myself that it's okay to not be doing like a productive, actively engaged hobby all the time. Like it's fine to just watch something and relax. Like that's still a good use of my time. I always have this feeling that if I'm not like playing a game, reading a book, doing journaling, or doing crochet, like an actively engaged hobby, that somehow I'm not making a good enough use of my time. Like I need to be doing something or making something or working towards the completion of something. But like that's not very healthy. So especially now with this like emotionally draining situation, like I need to be very forgiving with myself. I was also slacking a little bit on the YouTube front because I think I missed a week in terms of like my uploads. I think I didn't upload for one weekend, and I need to remind myself that like that is okay. This is just a hobby. It's just a side thing for me. It's okay if I don't post every week, and I need to stop comparing myself to people who upload more than once a week or every single week for like years on end, because everybody's different and it's okay that I'm not doing that. And like I want my channel to grow and I want, you know, to gain subscribers and stuff like that, but not at the cost of like my mental well-being, you know? So that's just all the like reminders I'm trying to give myself at this point. Regarding the emotional burnout, one situation that is also happening around the same time as everything else that has been contributing to the emotional burnout is the Tori situation. So the cat that we're fostering, Tori, I talked about her and when we got her in the Sunrise on the Reaping vlog that I did like a couple months ago at this point. We've had her for about 2.5 months, and we've really tried a lot during this time to get her comfortable and to get the cats to like each other and to try to get them to bond. But the overall dynamic is really not great for anybody at this point. Tori gets very stressed out about other cats. She really doesn't like other cats around her that much. And it's sad because we really want her to settle in and be happy, but it just seems like she's not good with other cats. And I feel bad because like Mochi is antagonizing her and he is just not taking to having like a new cat. And then poor Mango wants to be friends with her so bad and she wants nothing to do with him. She just growls at him even when he's like across the entire room from her. So unfortunately we decided that we're not going to be continuing to foster her. We're not going to adopt her, because originally the plan was to do like a foster to adopt situation, but we're not going to be adopting her, which is such a bummer. But ultimately I want all of them to be happy. Like I want her to be happy. I want my cats to be happy. But I'm really glad that we had her for a while. She is such a love. She's so sweet. She really is such an affectionate cat, and I wish the best for her. I hope that she finds an amazing home, but we will have to be bringing her back at some point. I'm waiting to hear back from the shelter, which is the one I volunteer at, by the way. So they're just gonna let me know when they have space for her, and then we can bring her in. Currently we're full. We have so many cats right now. But yeah, so that's also not helping the emotionally draining situation, is just knowing that we're gonna have to say goodbye to her soon, which is gonna suck. I'm never gonna regret fostering her. Like I'm so glad we had her for the time we had her. We got to know her so well, but I don't think I want to foster again. I think this is pretty rough. So yeah, that's the situation with Tori. So unfortunately she will not be part of our forever family, but she'll also will always have like a little special place in our heart, you know? Anyways, I need to go have dinner and shower, get out of my scrubs, and there's probably been moving van rumblings this whole time I've been filming, so I'm very sorry. If you've been hearing that, I hope you could at least like tune it out a little bit. But yeah, so that's the reading updates, that's the life updates, and the next time I see you, I will probably be done with Where the Dark Stands Still, and maybe 75% or even just done with The Raven Scholar. I gotta see how the upload schedule is gonna pan out, but I would love to have The Raven Scholar done in this vlog as well. Anyways, it's getting dark. I'm gonna go. I will see you later. Hi, it's been a few days and I have some reading updates. I'm gonna start with the one that is the most recent, I suppose, and that is that I just finished Where the Dark Stands Still. I finished this one literally just a couple minutes before starting to film. I had been reading it at work for the most part, like bringing it to work in my bag and reading it at work, and I literally was in the last like 5 to 10 pages of the book when I stopped reading it at my lunch break. I ran out of time, and I feel like this always happens to me, is like if I bring a book to work, chances are when I get to the end of it, I'm gonna have like 2 pages left or like a chapter left, and then my lunch break will end and then I have to go back without finishing the book. So I end up finishing it in the car or like right when I get home. So I literally just finished this. I just had to finish the last little bit of the chapter and then the epilogue. I really liked this one. I actually had a really good time with it. I wasn't really sure going into the ending where this was going to end up. Is it like a completely original ending to this sort of story? I mean, no, but I was pleasantly surprised by how it turned out. I did find that it was very satisfying. Everything wrapped up well. I really love the character development that we got with Liska and her arc throughout this, and the completion of that arc was really great to see, especially the way that it wrapped up in the epilogue. And I loved the side characters in this. We had a lot more elaboration on some of the side characters in the last half of the book, and I really liked them. This ended up having like a found family element to it that I didn't really expect, and I was very happy to see. It was very heartwarming, and it didn't feel like the side characters were just kind of there. Like they did play a role, and I also liked seeing them contribute to Liska and the Leshy's arcs, like individually, but also them together. It was just a really good time, honestly. Like I don't really have a lot of complaints. I don't think I have really any complaints. If I had to say anything negative, I suppose, about this book, it's just the age gap thing. It's just the fact that she is like 17 or 18 or something, and he's like 700. It feels like maybe a little bit of like a Peter Pan situation, because he's kind of like permanently young, but obviously he's had 700 years of life experience. But I'm not a stranger to like an age gap relationship in the fantasy sense. I don't think anybody really is, to be honest. Like we all grew up with Twilight. But I don't know, I don't really hold that against this because it's not like predatory, I feel. It doesn't feel predatory anyway. Your mileage might vary when it comes to this topic, but for me, I feel like it's not as weird as I have seen it in some other books that I've read. Like I found their dynamic to be really nice and really sweet. I would love to hear your thoughts on this kind of a thing, like an age gap relationship in a fantasy setting where it's like several hundred years of a gap. And one thing I'm curious about is why we never see this with like the flipped dynamic where it's a young boy who's the human love interest, and then you have like a several hundred years old female demon or spirit or whatever. I would be really interested to hear the conversations around that kind of a story. I feel like you never see that though. It's always young girl and several hundred years old demon or whatever it is. And I am curious about that. I wonder why we never see that. Maybe part of it is like the infantilization of women and teenage girls in general. I don't know. But like aside from that discussion again, I don't have anything really negative to say about this. I think the pacing was really great. The writing was really great. I thought it was so beautifully written, so lush, wonderfully magical and whimsical. And one thing I didn't really talk about in the last update, but I felt it a lot in this one, is the Howl's Moving Castle energy of this. If you enjoyed Howl's Moving Castle and you want more of that kind of a story with like Fae involved, I think you might really enjoy this one. I think the dynamic with the Leshy and Liska is very like Howl and Sophie. I'm having a hard time deciding what to rate this because I'm kind of torn between a 4.5 and a 5, honestly. Like, it doesn't have that surefire 1000% 5-star feeling that a lot of my other 5 stars have given me, like in general across my reading experience. For me, 5 stars are really, really finicky because a lot of the time I have to have that all-consuming like feeling that it's a 5 star, and if I don't have that, I don't feel comfortable giving it a 5. But then sometimes I'm like, girl, you are way too strict with these 5-star ratings. It's not that serious. It's not that deep. Sometimes it is that deep. Sometimes it is that serious.
Tens across the board.
But sometimes it's not that deep. Sometimes it's just you had a good time, you had a really enjoyable experience with it, you had fun reading it, and that's a 5 star. And in this case, I don't have anything like negative to really say about it. I don't have any complaints. There was no moment in this where I was like, I don't really want to read it anymore. I think I've just convinced myself that this is going to be a 5 star, actually. I'm buying it. I'm buying what I'm selling, to be honest. So maybe that'll sway some of you as well. Okay, my other reading update is going to be significantly shorter, and that is on the Raven Scholar. I have not made any fucking progress, girl. I've made no progress. And I mean girl in like a gender neutral way. Since the last time I talked to you, I think I've read like maybe 3% of it. I think it's because I've been so focused on finishing Where the Dark Stands Still. I don't think I'm going to be finishing the Raven Scholar in this vlog though, to be totally honest, because I'm not even halfway. I think last time I told you I was about 50%. I'm technically like 48%. Last time I talked to you, I think I was like 45%. I'm not even halfway into it. I'm right about halfway, but I don't think I'm going to be able to finish the other half of this 600 something page book in a timely fashion, especially if I want to have an upload like this coming weekend. It's only Tuesday right now, but I don't think I'm going to be able to finish it by the weekend. So depending how long this vlog currently is, I will probably have maybe one more reading update for the Raven Scholar, but if not, I will probably finish it in the next vlog. I'm really sorry to do this sometimes with my larger reads. I just don't have it in me to like cruise through 300 something pages in like 3 days. You may notice this small stack of books that has been sitting tantalizingly next to me this whole time. These books, in fact, are book mail. So I wanted to open the book mail with you, but they came at 2 separate times. They were 2 packages. So I just opened them, and I want to tell you what I bought and just read you the synopsis on them because I haven't read any of these yet. So I got 4 books. 2 of them were from Mercari, and then 2 of them are from Pango, and I used my Pango balance, so I paid $0 for 2 of these, which means I basically got 4 books for $27, which I think is a pretty good deal. So I'm just going to go through them one by one and read you maybe like a bit of the synopsis or the whole synopsis, depending how long or short they are. So the first one is After Hours at Dooryard Books. This is by Kat Sebastian, who is the same author as We Could Be So Good and You Should Be So Lucky, which is like male historical romance. They're not super historical. This one takes place in 1968. I think the other 2 are in the 50s and 60s as well. She's also written a bunch of other historical romance, but this one is set in New York City, and like I said, 1968. This blurb is very long, so I'm just going to read the first part of it and then try to synopsize some of it. It follows our main character Patrick, who, it says, spends his days selling books in the gayest neighborhood on the East Coast, and his nights merrily sleeping his way through the rare book community. But when he takes in a drifter who seems to be hiding something, and his best friend moves into the apartment upstairs, his life gets turned on its head. It seems like it's going to have some found family aspects because of the person that he takes in and then his best friend. There's these other characters who I think are regulars of the bookstore. It sounds like there's going to be a little bit of a rowdy group of characters that maybe we have a found family with. Obviously a romance between probably Patrick and Nathaniel, since that's the only person who gets a name in this blurb. So I'm looking forward to this one because I did really love We Could Be So Good. I gave that one 5 stars. It's probably one of my favorite male romances. I tend to read sapphic romances, but I did really love that one. And You Should Be So Lucky I didn't love as much because it's a sports romance. I'm not really a sports romance person at all because I'm not a sports person.
The team, go sports!
Can you just explain what's going on here?
Thank you, I have no idea.
But We Could Be So Good followed two reporters at a newspaper, and then this one being at a bookstore. I think I'm gonna really like the vibes of this one. So that's the first book, and also the sun is out now, so it's probably very bright. The next one is No One Is Talking About This by Patricia Lockwood. I love this cover. I don't know what it is about it. It just does something for me. It's so gorgeous. And despite being called No One Is Talking About This, actually a lot of people I've been seeing talk about this. I watched Frankie's Shelf talk about this one, and I think he really liked it, and then Jan Agaton recently read this and she loved it. And from what I've heard from people, it's very divisive, like you either love it or you hate it, and it's kind of experimental. I tend to like experimental books, and even if I don't love it, I still enjoy the experience of reading something experimental because I like to be surprised. I'm probably going to read all the synopsis to you because I don't really know how to explain this one as easily as like a romance. So I'm just going to read the whole thing. As this urgent, genre-defying book opens, a woman known for her viral social media posts travels the world speaking to her adoring fans. She is overwhelmed by navigating the new language and etiquette of what she terms the portal, where she grapples with an unshakable conviction that a vast chorus of voices is now dictating her thoughts. When existential threats, from climate change to the rise of an unnamed dictator and an epidemic of loneliness, begin to loom, she posts her way deeper into the portal's void. Are we in hell? The people of the portal ask themselves. Are we all just going to keep doing this till we die? Suddenly, two texts from her mother pierce the fray. Something has gone wrong, and how soon can you get here? As real life and its stakes collide with the increasingly absurd antics of the portal, the woman confronts a world that seems to contain both an abundance of proof that there is goodness, empathy, and justice in the universe, and a deluge of evidence to the contrary. This just sounds so fucking cool, and I know that like we just read 2 paragraphs or whatever about this, but I still feel like I have no idea what to expect going into this. And I think that's really, really fun. Sometimes it's really, really fun to just be completely blindsided by what you experience in a book. So hopefully it's good. Hopefully I really love it. I love the cover. Like, again, this cover is just so good. The next one is Cabaret in Flames by Hache Puello. Again, I love this cover. I just really think it's so interesting, and it's more interesting the more you look at it. I'm gonna bring it close to you. I don't know if it's gonna focus really well, but I just love the detail on this. Like, there's not a whole lot when you look quickly, but especially when you look in these parts that are lit up, it's just so detailed. I just really love all the detail on this cover that kind of hints at what you're going to be getting inside of it. For this one, I'm not going to read the whole synopsis. I'm just going to read the blurb because I think the blurb sums it up pretty well. It says, Hache Puello takes the reader to an alternate Brazil where flesh-eating ghouls manipulate the government from a glittering cabaret in this fever dream of dark fantasy. That sounds just like everything I need to know. I'm just looking forward to like the dystopian, sci-fi, fantasy weirdness that's going to happen in here. It's a shorty. All of these books are actually very short. And the last one I have is Seasons of Glass and Iron by Amal El-Mohtar. This is one of the authors of This Is How You Lose the Time War. She also wrote The River Has Roots, which was a fantasy novella. This one is a short story collection, and I've heard a lot of people talking about it. It came out earlier this year. Short story collections for me are usually very hit or miss. What happens in my experience is that some of them will be like 4 stars, 5 stars, and then some of them are like 2 stars. And I'm worried that this is going to be the same. I have not had the best track record with short story collections. Like, I've always had at least one short story in the collection that makes it worth reading, but I just hope that this is going to be mostly good ones. It doesn't tell you anything inside about what the short stories are going to be about, which is probably for the best because Amal El-Mohtar has a very lyrical, whimsical writing style, and a lot of the ideas that she writes about are so just trippy or abstract or just very, very thought-provoking. So I think we're probably better off not knowing a whole lot before going into these stories and just being surprised and just let it sweep us away. One thing it does say is that the stories are told in letters, diary entries, reference materials, and folktales. So it sounds like a bit of a mixed media type of collection. Yeah, it's a little bit mixed media, I suppose. This one is just straight up poetry, and it has an English translation on the side, as well as, I don't know what language this is in, I'm gonna be honest. I'm really excited for this one, but I'm also a little scared, I'm not gonna lie, because Amal El-Mohtar just has such an incredible brain. She's such an incredible writer. I want to love everything she writes, and I really hope I love these. I really do. So that's the book haul. Lots of short books, and I'm excited about all of these. Obviously, that's why I bought them. I'm going to try to restrain myself from buying any more books for a little bit. I'm not very good at that. I tend to just buy things. But the fact that my physical TBR is basically just one shelf now, it was feeling a little scarce over here, I'm not gonna lie, but we have the solution. One thing I would really like to do at some point though, and maybe I will for my next vlog, honestly, is just a library reading vlog, because I have a lot lot of books on my TBR that are from my library, like physical copies that I can borrow from my library, that for one reason or another I've decided not to physically purchase. I think maybe that's what I'll do in my next reading vlog, is go and pick up a couple library books and see how many of my library TBR I can read. That's it for reading updates for now. I will probably come back in with one more update before I end this vlog. I want to give it a little more time for me to hopefully make some more progress in the Raven Scholar or even start another book. I'm not sure what I'm going to pick up next, to be honest, but I'll probably come back in with one more update and then outro from there. So I will see you whenever that happens. Goodbye. Hi, so I just got out of work. I'm sitting in the car. I just wanted to film a vlog update, but I just needed to gather the courage to talk about this. It's been on my mind a lot, and it's been causing me a lot of pain and heartache recently. And miraculously, I don't think I'm gonna cry about it because I'm honestly feeling a little apathetic at the moment and just very emotionally drained. There's really no easy way to come out and say it, so I'm just gonna say it. I'm not getting married anymore. I was engaged up until this weekend, and I'm not engaged anymore. Me and my partner are still together. Nothing happened to him. He didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. To those of you who have watched my videos before, I might have mentioned in passing that I'm child-free. I do not intend to have children. I cannot carry children anymore. I got sterilized. I chose to do that because I knew that that was something I never wanted for myself. I never wanted to be pregnant. I never wanted to raise kids. That was where I was on it. And my partner was on the same page as me for our whole relationship. But somewhere along the line, within the last few months, something kind of shifted and he thought maybe he wanted to have kids. So he found himself kind of reconsidering what he wanted for the future. And he brought it up to me probably about a month and a half ago now. And we've had a lot of really heavy, really hard conversations the past month and a half. Sorry the rain is picking up. I hope you can still hear me okay. If not, I'll fix it. This week, we decided to call off the wedding. Because, to be honest, a lot of emotional harm has been done, and we both need to work on things a bit more before we commit to anything like that. It was also a situation where he needed to evaluate what he wants, and I need to evaluate what I want for the future, and if this is what I want for the future. Not in regards to changing my mind about kids, I'm not changing my mind about that, but we're both reevaluating the relationship and where we stand and what we want to invest and what we're willing to give up. And for now, we've made the decision to stay together. It got really dicey this weekend. Arguably, we did break up for a day, but we ultimately decided that there's too much to lose. This relationship that we've built over about 4.5 years at this point, there's just too much to lose for both of us, and we love each other and we care about each other very much. So we're trying, but it's been really rough this weekend. It's been really bad. I've cried more in the past month and a half than I probably have in years and years. And as much as I am very much grieving the wedding that I thought I was going to have and grieving the marriage that I thought I was going to have, we are still together, and so I'm still hopeful. I wish I had a better resolution to this. I wish I had more closure, I suppose, but I don't at the moment. So I just wanted to talk to you guys about what's going on, because I feel like I haven't really been myself recently, and I don't know if that's come across in anything. I've definitely been engaging a lot less on the Discord servers that I'm in, and I didn't even do the tarot readathon that I wanted to participate in because of all this that was going down. It feels strange to be so apathetic at the moment and not crying about it, but I've cried so much recently that I don't really have it in me right now to cry anymore. And also the people that get it will get it, but right before Shark Week, I get incredibly apathetic and I just don't feel like anything anymore. So I think it's a little bit of a combination of insane emotional burnout right now and then also pre-Shark Week apathy mode. If you've been here for a little bit, you've probably seen my engagement ring that I'm not wearing anymore, and maybe heard me talking about wedding things, and we were supposed to get married in November. I just wanted to share something about this, and it's not a happy moment in my life, that's for sure. But this channel is a little bit of a window into my life and, my everyday existence, and I feel like it would be weird to not address this, especially if anybody ever notices that I'm not wearing the ring anymore. I don't know how people would notice, but some people are incredibly observant. Again, it would just feel weird not addressing something that is so present in my mind right now, so top of mind, and something that's very much affecting everything in my life right now, including my hobbies. Thank you if you stayed for this part. I'm really appreciative that you guys are here, and I'm really grateful for this little community that I have. It's small but mighty, and I'm really grateful for all of you. Anyways, I'm kind of out of things to say, and also the rain's picking up like crazy, so I'm gonna go. Thank you again for just being here. And hopefully I'm back to my usual self soon. It kind of comes and goes in waves, So I hope that I can harness those good moments, make the best of what I have at the moment, Anyways, thanks again. This rain is insane. I will see you later. Bye.